Shalom, shalom, shalom. This is now Mom, the Great Millstone Camp here in DC, back for another video. But first and foremost, call hello Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rekah HaKodash. Of course, once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim that are out there on the highways and the byways, pushing the truth across four corners of the earth. Of course, aided by the many videos that are uploaded, and we do that because it helps to edify the remaining hopeful elect. All right, all we can do is plant that seed, which we do through the word. All right, but the watering and the growth thereof is, that's Yahweh Shai through the Holy Spirit. All right, so but we do what we're commanded to do, and that's get out there on the highways and byways. All right, the agora. All right, and preach. If you have any questions, come up. Otherwise, all these videos out there, not just for your entertainment, which we realize some of you, or probably the majority, do, is that's how you treat it. But it's only going to hurt you. All right. So here is the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use. All right. For purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair uses are use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Fair use, fair use, fair use. All right. So what we have, all right, is an answer to you all's question. All right. If you ever wanted to know why the U.S. and their cohorts never wanted to give you reparations, well, now you know. Ghana posed the question at the UN. And guess what happened? Well, there's no more, let's just roll it. I mean, what did you think? Why do you think we always tell you, hey, your reparations is going to be Revelation 13 and 10? All right, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, let's get it real quick. Let's start off with this. Revelation 13 and 10. Actually, it started 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Not only are you hearing what's coming out, but you're understanding. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here, and this is important, here is the patience and the faith of the saints. In short, what goes around comes around. You thought, and I'm talking about the nation of Edom, you thought that you could just walk around on this earth and just bully and enslave, slaughter, rape, pillage, plunder, and have not having to see any consequences. You thought that. You really thought that. That you were going to be the lone ones, despite whatever history has taught us, that you were somehow going to be the exception to the rule. Despite all the scriptures, Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, and a whole host of others. Psalms 7, 15, Psalms 9, 15 and 16. We could go on and on. All right, all this, and it's happening right in front of your face. All right, you're falling as it was prophesied. So let's go ahead and get into the video. And then we're going to break out that list after he says what he has to say. I'm going to try to start it off instead of getting in. Well, it looks like he's going to, yeah, okay. Sometimes he takes maybe up to 4 or 5 minutes. Here we go. Yeah, they said a big FU.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us on the stream. We greatly appreciate it.
And this is the
Make sure
African
you click that
Diaspora News
subscribe
Channel.
button.
Phil
Make sure you
Scott.
click that like button. That's very, very important. So tonight, last night we talked about President John Mahama out of Ghana. He was going to go to the United Nations to talk about slavery and reparations. And we got two articles we need to look at, one directly from the UN, and the United States response was, to me, way more important, and we finally got an answer on paper why they don't want to pay reparations. But not only them, all the Western nations that participated in the transatlantic slave trade,
That were beneficiaries.
why
Go
they
figure.
don't want to pay reparations, what nations abstained from supporting the resolution about reparations, and what nations that were thoroughly against it. There was only 3 nations. So we're going to get into that tonight, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, got some updates for you. So we're talking about the app and the update we're going through. So the app is being actually tested on one, or some things they're doing and testing on the Android. They got to get the iOS version go through all the rigorous testing. But we're at basically the fixing some of the UI and testing phase. So we're getting there. We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. Also, I definitely want to thank everybody who have been joining us on the African Diaspora News Channel app. And you have not joined us, please join us, because, as I said before, all the social media platforms, and I liken it to renting an apartment or renting a house. It is not your house. It's not your apartment. It's Google's apartment, right? YouTube's apartment. Our app is our house. We own the house. Everybody can come to our house. We can control who come in and who come out the house. And that's more important, because if you don't own it, then that's why it's called a YouTube channel, because it belongs to YouTube. Okay, it doesn't belong to me or anybody else who are on the platform. So our goal is to convert 1% of our audience. That's 1%. 1% would be 19,000 people. We should be able to convert at least 1% of our audience. I'm going to speak that into existence, that we're going to convert 1%. And we purposely keeping the price at $9.99 because we got to get those conversions. $9.99 is affordable. It's like 31 cents a day. It's inexpensive in comparison to, you get a Starbucks coffee and a breakfast sandwich. Those two items are more expensive in one sitting than a whole month on the app, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, let's go ahead and run our commercial for the app, and we'll be right back.
What if I told you there's a news platform made?
All right, let's skip ahead. You can do that on your own. Let's see. Here we go.
Mentioning can you get it for Roku? We don't own Roku. Not to say that we won't eventually get a fast channel. And a fast channel will be no different than what happens on YouTube, but the full experience is on the app, because we don't own Roku. Remember, that's Roku's platform. Roku could say you could be here or you not be here. The key is ownership, not renting. Ownership, right? So that's the key. We gotta have our own. So $9.99 a month is a good price, because it's cheaper than getting a Starbucks coffee and a breakfast sandwich. Okay, so let's go ahead on and get started. And like I said, we just need 1%. We just need to convert 1%. That's it, and we can hit our goal. Let's go ahead and get started, and we're gonna get into this. All right, as people slowly come in. Now, let me start with actually what the UN said. Okay, let me go to United Nations. What they said themselves about the resolution. And this is where I want to start. All right, United Nations. The UN resolution urges reparations for slavery's historical wrongs. Once again, I'm not getting too much into that itself. I'm more so getting into the United States response to reparations. And you will understand when we get into this response why we have up on the lower third what we have up on the lower third, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go. All right, so I say applause say erupted in the UN General Assembly Hall on Wednesday as member states adopted a resolution declaring the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity, which it was. And said the resolution spearheaded by Ghana received 123 votes in favor. Three countries, Argentina, Israel, and the United States, voted against. If you know the history of Argentina, let's get up
Yeah.
on the history of Argentina just for a minute.
Motherfucker.
Argentina got rid of their black population. They wanted to cleanse Argentina of black people. And they did it by many means. When they had wars, they put all the black people on the front lines to die. That was one way they was getting rid of black people. Another one, they was forcing them to stay places where disease and all that was real bad to get them to die off. And then the brothers and sisters had got hip to what they was trying to do to them. So the ones who did not die off in wars were being put on the front line, or disease-ridden places that they was forcing them to stay in. A lot of them left and immigrated to Chile. A lot of black people did. So that's why Argentina do not have a lot of black people. Also, Argentina was the place that the Nazis went to after World War II. Argentina
Exactly.
has been known as the hub of the, when you say the white Hispanic, mostly white people, that is Argentina. Now, if you go over there talking to them about it, they're not going to want to talk about it. They want to be quiet about it. But that is a place
Of
that
course.
they purposely got rid of their black population, and they have been the envy of the white supremacist world that they got rid of their black population, and other places could not do that. So am I surprised that Argentina's saying this? No, not surprised at all. That's where all the Nazis went. Okay, let's get this back on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. So Argentina, Israel, and the United States. Those three said that they were against a resolution declaring the transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity. Well, I'm on this platform, and I got to be careful with certain countries on this platform. Certain countries were doing things that were very grave to humanity today. So it doesn't surprise me. And the United States, they're exactly with them, right? So it's nothing no different. Now, they say today we come together in solemn solidarity to affirm. No, they say 52 abstain. Okay, make sure to read that. We'll get to that later. They say today we come together in solemn solidarity to affirm truth and pursue a route to healing and reparative justice, said Ghana's President John Mahama, speaking ahead of the vote on behalf of the 54-member African group, the largest regional bloc in the UN. Now, it says stolen, shackled, and shipped. Say for more than 400 years, millions of people were stolen from Africa, put in shackles, and shipped to the New World to toll the cotton fields and sugar and coffee plantations in the scorching heat and the crack of a whip, denied their basic humanity and even their names. They were forced to endure generations of exploitation, repercussions that reverberate today, including persistent anti-black racism and discrimination. It said the resolution emphasized the trafficking of enslaved Africans and racialized chattel enslavement of Africans as the greatest crime against humanity by reason of definitive break in world history scale, duration, systemic nature, brutality, and enduring consequences that continue to structure the lives of all people through racialized regimes of labor, property, and capital.
So listen, about a year ago, my mother-in-law calls and she gets to telling us about this daily liver shop.
Okay. So they did a quote here from Esther Phillips, the spirits of systems of the president in this room at this moment. They are listening for one word justice. All right. Here's the part I want to home in. Address wrong word reparations. This is me to do stream tonight on the subject matter. Affirm the story wrong, correcting the people diaspora in a manner that promotes justice, human rights, dignity, healing. Emphasize claims or represent a concrete toward remedy. Okay. Yes. She had right. Anything agriculture rights. Rights. Say the text was taking this ambassador Dan Korea. Yes, if not, he represents the United States of America at the Economic and Social Council prior to so talking slavery is great human tragedy, wrong. His was problematic and countless respect. Continue to regret Washington was once remind the society united exist in international peace and security. Well, I mean, they're not doing a job at, you know, y'all did start with Iran, you know, they maintain peace and security. It was not to narrow specific interest to establish niche international niche order to create new leading and reporting mandates. The part that me more so anything, and I'm glad this fuck the U.S. does take the U.S. does recognize legal right to reparations for historical word not legal under international law at the time.
Uh-oh.
This is the
Pastor.
time that they actually went to say this. Let me repeat this again. He says the United States government does not recognize a legal right to reparation for historical wrongs. Illegal under international law at the time occurred. Continue.
See? There you go.
Isn't that a sick and evil, demonic, hellish, thing called response? Telling you we support reparations, but it was legal at the time. Beat you, beat you, and so we have to pay because it was legal to save you. It was legal to your life. I got how to say algorithm on it. It was legal to destroy fruit. Let me make your strange fruit. Let me say it. It was legal to violate the men, women, and children. Like he's like this something. Like he's like this better or something. They would see. This is what they would see. It was legal at the time, and because all that was legal we don't at the time. Because we don't own it. I mean, because hey, it was legal. I mean, we don't respect. It was legal. Stop telling us about reparations. It was legal. Once again, I'm gonna say this. President Muhammad, I appreciate you doing what you did. Not because of the reparations aspect, but you forced them to admit what they never admitted before. They all said, well, why do I pay? Long ago. That's what I'm saying. You were a slave. Now, come say, they forced them to come out and say, well, it was legal what we did to you at the time. So since it was legal, no matter how much of an atrocity it was, we don't owe anything. Sorry. Was United government and their ambassador at the United Nations. I'm just starting because that's where live about reparations. Now you get why so against it. Now you get at first, and the more I slow and it's much deeper than even what I thought. I was getting saying it was anti-black racism. I don't know way credit. Because even the issue that you don't like have should give us credit. They want to have it. They didn't do nothing wrong. Now I get now we fully understand full circle why they against reparations. It's not feel that nothing black in the 1950s, 40s, now. I mean, it's now. I mean, with legality, them depends on if they enforce it or not. All that, that sense because when say time for the 1950s, all that, hey, it was legal. Do nothing. Can't leave. It's a hey, I do these. Then it was all we're this. Nothing. Nothing get out because it, it legal. All that I want to me fake news. This from news.un.org. I'm not up, right? I read again. The U.S. does not recognize legal right to reparations for wrongs that were not illegal in the law at the time they occurred. That is their position. This is why you have such a hard fight against reparations in the United States of America because they did nothing wrong. And this is why it's so hard to admit their fault because they are blameless. They did nothing wrong. Okay. So, so now we have official position. Now we know how to shape commentary. Now we have to go a little bit more throttle, quote unquote, guilt station they don't like to hear. Now we really got to throw the guilt on now because now, because see, let me tell you something. From the ministry the spirit is to remind people of this. What we need to do is hard and remind them of everything done
And that's what we're
yesterday,
doing.
today, and forever. We got to constantly remind them of what they done. Because one thing they can't do, you can say I ain't do nothing wrong, and this is why they say I don't have white guilt. I guess that's where that comes from. Because of my guilt, I didn't do nothing wrong. It was legal what we were doing at the time. It didn't become illegal until what? The Emancipation Proclamation.
Of course, the main thing with us is reminding Jake, all right, because that's our chief concern, all right, to repent and come back. But in that, we also are telling the heathen, chief amongst them, of course, is Edom, the self professed white man, the things that he's done with all the signs that we carry. So, by no means is he getting away. Salaki. Let's see. Uh, let's see. Uh, let's see. Bear with me just a moment. Where is that? All right, let's see. Where was that? All right. All right. This is Isaiah 58 and 1. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. All right. And shew my people their transgressions. All right. And like I said, also with that, we're not only stopping at our peoples, but of course, all right. So this is, let's see, Second Ezra. That's where I got confused. 1 and 5. All right. It says, go thy way and shew my people their sinful deeds and their children their wickedness, which they have done against me, that they may tell their children's children's. All right. 6, because the sins of their fathers are increased in them, for they have forgotten me and have offered unto strange gods. And that's why we're in the predicament that we're in now. All right. This is why the things that are happening to us are happening. All right. So before anything else, we got to get ourselves right. This is what we're trying to tell our people. That's why we're out here on the highways and byways, chiefly speaking. All right. Because it's going to start at the house, our house first, as it says in First Peter 4 and 17. All right. Let's get that real quick. First Peter 4 and 17. All right. It says, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first began at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High Yahweh? All right. And if 18, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner people? Let me read it again. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? All right. So that, and this is 19, I might as well read, because wherefore let them that suffer according to the will of the Most High commit the keeping of their souls to him in well doing as unto a faithful creator. All right. We got to get our stuff straight. But I mean, does that really surprise anyone that they took this position? It's just that they did it publicly. Because that's the time that we're in now. All is being revealed. You have to realize that. This devil, this deceiver, this lying piece of shit, this murderer, all right, this covetous bastard, he's being revealed. It tells you that 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter. We're in a time that he's being revealed. This word is doing it. All right. This word is doing it. Let's get another one. Let's go to Hosea now. All right. It says, therefore, have I shewed them by the prophets. All right. I have slain them by the words of my mouth. We didn't have to resort to guns and, carnal means. That's what he wants, because now you fall into his domain. But we do what? Therefore have I shewed them by the prophets. I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. There's different ways to fight. All right. The one thing you don't want to do is go according to your enemy. And since the blessing of the sword was given to our enemy, all right, why are we going to stoop to his level? Keeping it spiritual, we're winning. He has no defense. Again, the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, let's go back to the video.
Proclamation, they let you go. I mean, and even then, you still wouldn't fully let go. You still had underground slavery.
Yep.
So I think Dan, thank you. I appreciate you, President Muhammad. Thank you for forcing them to say that.
Yeah, because it's on record now. All right, what else? As he was getting into, uh, it didn't stop. It didn't stop. Well, you got it on the, okay, 1863. That didn't free everybody. That didn't free everybody. You had only select states at that time. I think Georgia, one of the Carolinas, Mississippi. I mean, it wasn't for everybody. And then 1865. Of course, you had the thing with the Juneteenth, you know, because there was a delay. I wonder why. It was a delay in letting all the people know that, hey, chattel slavery was over. But again, it didn't end there. There's all kinds of things that went on that we were seeking, all right, reparations for. Prison industrial complex started thereafter. All right. The making of all these petty laws to get Jake back to get that free labor. All right, which continues again to this day. ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, they meet every year in Philadelphia. The prison industrial complex is part of that. All right, 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, 15th Amendment, all had to do with Jake exclusively. Then you had, during that time, you had the Reconstruction. Then we were left to ourselves because they pulled the protection with the troops at the end of Reconstruction. Then Jim Crow and the Klan and all that went into full effect. All right, all the lynchings and terrorism. In short, we never had a chance to even breathe, let alone heal. And they knew it. Burning of all the towns that we established to try to get away from them. But you hear them tell it, we're always trying to follow them. And in those instances that are, I'm sure, few, there's a reason for that. Because just as some of these countries that you fucked over, all right, and you're having this uh, surge of immigrants, well, why? It's the same principle. You've destroyed their stuff. So then, of course, they're going to come to you for some type of relief in order to have some hope of a quote unquote better life. So this was engineered by them regardless, whether it was through happenstance or this was plotted deliberately. And of course, they're going to take advantage of this. And then you also, that helps to, and this is amongst our people also, so I'm not going off kilter here. It helps create this thing where now you have this divide amongst the very same people because you have some, well, why are you leaving and going somewhere else? It's the same here in the so-called black communities, you know, because Jake goes and lives in the suburbs, all right, and now you got this animosity, all right, between, you know, but this is by and large from not being educated as to what's going on. A lot of people just prefer to live in ignorance. All right. They just look out for what's going to make me happy now. And of course, with us, that's consequence of the curses that are placed upon us. Everybody's outside looking, well, how come these people never get it together? And again, on their part, all it would take is more education and quit trusting what you're told by the same people that are doing it to us. Back to the video.
But let's continue. Let's continue. The more and more I get along, I tell y'all what. Look.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app in Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
The more and more I go along, and the more deeper I understand their psychology and how they feel, I ain't gonna lie with y'all. Sometimes I want to just get my bags and go to Africa. I ain't gonna lie, because I just don't want to be dealing with them. Because when I'm over there, I don't be seeing them like that. I don't got to deal with them. No, it's not my culture. No, it's not my lineage. But doggone it, I ain't got to do, because I'm telling you, it just even reading that is sick to me. It's sick. I would never even think like that toward any atrocity of any people. So that means what they did to the Native Americans, they feel it was justified because it wasn't illegal underneath international law.
But see, the thing that more and more, well, I won't say more and more, slowly, or at least they're maybe admitting it openly now. All right, because you have to remember, they did that, but they want to push the Holocaust to the forefront. Again, them being the victim. Well, at the same time, sweeping up under the rug the atrocities that they committed. They don't even want to, no, we ain't going to claim that. It was legal at the time, as if to say, well, just on the basis of morality, what you did. Nope, it was illegal. It was legal what we did at the time. Don't you see there's a reason why the scriptures say for a particular group of people, and the more you understand, like he says, and to go into the psychology of these people, why there is no mercy to be given them, why they are to be exterminated off the face of the earth after they serve their penance. Like, can't you see?
Right, what they did to the Native Americans.
Numbers
Whatever
35
group
and
they did
33.
something to, right? It didn't matter because, hey, it wasn't illegal at the time, so you can't get recompense for it. Let's get back into it, because it was not just them. Now they said,
But this is the reasoning, this is the mindset of an Edomite. See, this is the mindset of a devil, of a demon. They don't care for you stupid ass Christians. They're incapable of feeling any type of remorse. None. And for all you coons out there, to be able to, what's that fancy word? Ingratiate yourself, meaning sucking up to, kissing ass. All right, these are the people you're doing it for.
The horrors of slavery is echoed in General Assembly Hall as member states commemorated the International Day to remember its victims. It says slave trade and slavery stand, it say, among the gravest violations of human rights, it say, in human history, and affront to
Oh,
the
you
very
know they didn't want to
purposes
hear
of
that.
trying to charter about United Nations and a universal declaration.
You know that right there pissed them off. What? This is the gravest, not the Holocaust? What?
Declaration of Human Rights, themselves born in part from these injustices of the past. Now, say the countries where enslaved Africans were taken from also suffered a hollowing out, having lost entire generations whose particularly could have helped them to prosper. Is that it was, to put in colder terms, mass resource extraction. Okay. Now, I want to go to, let me see here. Hold on. Respect for African countries. He urged them to drive action to eradicate systemic racism, ensure reparatory justice, and accelerate inclusive development marked by equal access to education, health, employment, housing, and a safe environment. They asked back in there, they told me this includes commitments to respect African countries' ownership of their own natural resources, and steps to ensure their equal participation and influence in the global financial architecture and the.
And lo and behold, all right, during the same time period, I can't remember the exact dates, Ghana just arrested, what was it, around 1,000 Chinese for stealing gold? Can't catch a break, boy.
UN Security Council, because no African country is on the UN Security Council. Not now one.
Nope.
All right, so let's go. Let's go here to BBC. Right, and this next we want to get to. And before we fully get into
gravest
the
crime
BBC
against humanity,
article,
you know,
ladies and gentlemen,
you know they hated to hear that. The gravest crime against humanity. But we were all taught that it was the Holocaust from World War II with, you know, the Austrian painter. So now you mean to... No. We can't have that. No. Let me show you this chart. Well, let's just go a bit further. He might do it. Hold
on. Make sure that you join us at the Ohio Black Expo that's coming up on Memorial Day weekend in Columbus, Ohio. If you haven't heard about the information, maybe your first time, get your tickets. Let's go ahead and check this out.
It's the Unity Reunion Parade, Cookout, Line Dance Party, Backyard, Barbecue, Fit Fry, Vegan Soul, Black Business, Food Truck, Networking, Outdoor, Concert, Music, Festival, Celebration of the Year.
Russell down here, he's saying, so you're saying they feel they didn't do nothing wrong during the slave trade. So if that's true, what about, you mentioned them folks, the Holocaust, and what they get? Look, that was beyond which all that stuff was white on white crime. So that has nothing to do with us.
There you go.
I don't get into that stuff. Matter. I just focus on us. To be honest with you, I really don't focus on other groups. I have a thing about that. I focus on us and what we got going on and what we got to get. I focus on the diaspora. Anybody of African descent, black, whatever, that's who I focus on. I ain't got time to focus on other groups unless they are affecting us, right? So just letting you know ahead of time, that's my model. I've been on that, and I'm not ever pivoting from that because we got enough issues going on in our own community. But, yeah, they feel like they did nothing wrong. And like I say, that is good. Now, let me, because you know they play good cop, bad cop. A Democrat gonna come around like, oh, no, that's atrocious. Why would they say something like that? That is horrible.
And Jake gonna fall for it.
Slavery was wrong. We did do wrong. And yes, I support a measure for reparations. How dare they say that? Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Well, shoot. Let's go ahead and start dividing up them checks. Hold on. I said it was wrong. I said it was atrocity. I didn't say you should get paid now. Well, why should we get paid, Mr. Democrat? Because you felt it wasn't wrong either? And you just BSing? At least the other side at least admit it. I respect that about them. You play this game like you're on our side, but when the rubber meets the road, you're just like him. You're the same. And that's why I try to get by my people. Malcolm X told us a long time ago about you liberals that you are worse than the conservative. You worse. They act like you your friend. They slide, like I say, they slide like a fox. Deceptive. Oh, racism. Look what they did George Floyd. Oh, my God. Okay, well, let's get some laws. Let's get an anti-black hate crime bill. Let's get qualified immunity. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, y'all kind of going too far with some of that? I mean, we acknowledge George Floyd was wrong, but we still need the police. We didn't say we didn't need them. We just said we need to reel them in. Right? Get rid of qualified immunity. Put some more laws on the books. Get an anti-black hate crime bill. I mean, they the exact same as the other side. And if you don't know nothing, you ain't learned nothing else. Learn that. Learn that portion of it. Because they always gonna come out and say how wrong it is, and oh my God, these people are Nazis, and oh, they got a Klan hood. But when it come to giving resources to you, y'all, they are the same.
Tangible things.
One's a
tangible
Nazi,
things you're never going to get.
Is a closeted one.
Things that are going to actually, you name those things that actually helped us. I'll wait. To where they didn't benefit the most. Let you know the game that they've been playing. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what he's getting into. All right, the liberal is worse. Nothing new. That's always been the case.
Oh, racism! Look what they did George Floyd. Oh my God! Okay, well, let's get some laws. Let's get an anti-black hate crime bill. Let's get qualified immunity. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, y'all kind of going too far with some of that? I mean, we acknowledge Floyd was wrong, but we still need the police. We didn't say we didn't need them. We just said we need to reel them in. Right? Get rid of qualified immunity. Put some more laws on the books. Get an anti-black hate crime bill. I mean, they the exact same as the other side. And if you don't know nothing, you ain't learned nothing else. Learn that. Learn that portion of it. Because they always gonna come out and say how wrong it is, and oh my God, these people are Nazis, and oh, they got a Klan hood. But when it come to giving resources to you, y'all, they are the same. One's a Nazi, and the one is a closeted one. They just smile in your face and say, oh, I love going to you guys' cookouts and nightclubs, and I love your music. I love everything about black people. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, let's go out and help out black people, some jobs and some loans and some grants, and let's help black people out. I don't know if I can do that. I mean, it would be hard. It would be so hard. Really? It's hard? Well, use your white privilege to make it unhard. I don't know if I can do that because, he may not listen to me. Well, why don't you try? I don't know, Darnell. I don't know.
5-1. Heard that right. You're getting 3 kits, but only paying for 1.
We know your game, baby. We know your game. That's why I tell my people, y'all, when it comes to black people, it don't matter about conservative or Republican. It don't matter about that. They are the same when it comes to black people. Just one's more outspoken, and the other one is a deceptive, slick box. That's all the difference. Now, let's get back. Let's get back here what we were talking about here on the BBC article. Let's get back to that about the UN. Okay, cool. So we're gonna kind of reload some things, but we're gonna get into something else I want to get into. It says United Nations General Assembly has voted to recognize the enslavement of Africans during the transatlantic slave trade as the gravest crime against humanity, a move advocates hope will pave the way for healing and justice. Of course, the resolution proposed by Ghana called for this designation, while also urging UN member states to consider apologizing for the slave trade and contributing to a reparations fund. It says it does not mention a specific amount of money. Even if they would contribute some money, I'll get to that. I'll get to the reality of being in the United States citizen. Okay. The proposal was adopted with 123 votes in favor and 3 against the United States, Israel, Argentina. But here's what I want to look at too. 52 countries abstained, including the United Kingdom and European Union member states.
All right, now let's go to that chart that I had. All right. UN resolution urging reparatory justice wins backing without Western support. All right, when we go down here, let's see if I can blow it up. Get this out of the way. Come on. All right. For those that it says abstained in yellow. So you got Switzerland. You notice a trend here. Well, let's go over to this one. United Kingdom, Ukraine, Switzerland, Sweden, Spain, Slovenia, Slovakia, all right, San Marino, all right, Romania, I don't know what this one is, Portugal, Poland, Paraguay, Palau, Oman, Norway, I don't know what that one is, New Zealand, Netherlands, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Monaco, Montenegro, Japan, Italy, Ireland, Iceland, Hungary, Greece, Germany, Georgia, and that's Russia, Georgia, France, Finland, Fiji, Estonia, Denmark, Chechnya, Cyprus, Croatia, Canada, Cambodia, Bulgaria, Bosnia, Belgium, Austria, Australia, Armenia, Andorra, Albania. When they said Western, the majority by far are Edom. All right. And of course, they had the most to benefit from. That was my point in reading all of that. All right. The vote garnered 123 votes. All right. Slovakia. And look at all the ones: Zambia, Yemen, Vietnam, the ones that approved, Venezuela. All right. Vanuatu, Uzbekistan, Uruguay. All right. Look at all these: Thailand, Togo, Tonga, Trinidad, Tunisia. I'm not going to read all of them, but there's a list. Uganda, St. Lucia. All right. San Marino. No, that was the other one. They abstained. Qatar, Republic of Korea. All right. Panama, Papua New Guinea, Niger, Nigeria, Nicaragua, Nepal, Myanmar, Namibia. All right. Morocco, surprisingly. All right. Mexico, Micronesia, Marshall Islands, Mauritania. All right. Malawi, Malaysia, Maldives, Mali, Lebanon, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan. All right. Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Jamaica, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya. Look at this. All these that are, a lot of them are considered the bad guy. All right. The uncivilized. I hope everybody sees now. All right. Now, of course, I read those first, the ones that abstain, mostly Edom, by far mostly Edom. All right, including 27 members of the European Union. All right, you had Canada and Japan, which I read. Russia and China yet voted yes. All right. Perhaps the most controversial paragraph of the resolution was the recognition of slavery as a violation of jus cogens, or peremptory norms of international law that are universally accepted and binding on all countries. The text called on member states to engage in inclusive, good faith dialogue on reparatory justice, uh, encompassing formal apologies, restitution, compensation, rehabilitation, and guarantees of non repetition. They don't want that because it's like opening a door for shit down the line, and they're trying to cut it off altogether. Western countries have historically opposed measures that could be construed as establishing action that imposes retroactive legal liabilities. The United States also does not recognize a legal right to reparations for historical wrongs that were not illegal under international law at the time they occurred. All right, says the ambassador for the United States. The United States strongly objects to the cynical usage of historical wrongs as a leverage point in an attempt, meaning they've thought long and hard about this. All right. The United States strongly objects to the cynical usage of historical wrongs as a leverage point in an attempt to reallocate modern resources to people and nations who are distantly related to the historical victims. Okay, couldn't we use that argument against the Holocaust victims? You see the hypocrisy in their opposition here? Washington also objected to the financial implications of the resolution on the UN itself, as it grapples with shrinking liquidity flow, mostly brought on by the U.S. non-payment of its mandated UN dues of approximately $4.2 billion. Yet, didn't I hear Trump calling out? It wasn't I think it was NATO. So you're not paying your bill, but you. Wow. The text requests the UN Secretary General to submit a report on the actions taken by states in implementation of the present resolution. A UN Secretariat official told the Assembly that the report would cost $117,700 for the UN staff to produce and $12,800 in other assessments, with both to be included in the UN's 2027 General Operating Budget. All right. Ghana led the negotiations for the non-binding assembly resolution over at least a year's time. All right. Kudos to Ghana. Because the thing is, only a nation state could present this argument. We can't because we're not a nation state. All right. This resolution allows us as a global community to collectively bear witness to the plight of more than 12.5 million men, women, and children whose homes, communities, names, families, hopes, dreams, futures, and lives were stolen from them over the course of 400 years. All right, let's go back to the video.
The UK have long rejected calls to pay reparations, saying today's institutions cannot be held responsible for past wrongs. Really? Hold on. I know the UK ain't say that. Give me a second, cause it's something I need to search up real quick. Give me a second. Hold on. Let me type this in. Hold on. We're talking about the UK. Let me pull this up on Gemini real quick since I have access to Gemini right here.
Real quick, let me get this. This is going to be. This is Job 20. This is Job chapter 27, verse 8. It says, "For what is the hope of the hypocrite, though he hath gained, when the Most High taketh away his soul?" Which goes into what? All right, it's a warning about that in Matthew, is it not? All right, let's go to Matthew 16. All right. Oh, let's see. There it is. This is Matthew 16 and 26. "For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul?" He's going to lose it all. All. All right. All right. Let's stay in, let's go back to Job. All right. 20 and 5. All right. "The wicked will suffer." Verse 5. "That the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. 6. Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds." And we know that, yeah, their pride. They walk around here with their chest all puffed out, nose up in the air. And it says 7, "Yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he?" This is the ultimate fate. When you go to Obadiah, it tells you in verse 18. Of course, it gives you, I encourage you to read the whole chapter. All right. But it gives you up until around 10. All right. It's telling you in verse especially in 6 through 8, about how his things are searched out. All right. How the people that are confederate with him in verse 7, all right, have laid a snare for him, which is, you're seeing this right now happen right before your face. His fellow Edomites who were partners in crime with him, they can't stand his ass. All right. And then in verse 10 in Obadiah, it tells you, it goes into telling you why these things are happening to him. And it's for what he did to his brother Jacob, which is us. This is Edom, where it tells you at the beginning of that chapter, at the heading, the punishment or the humiliation of Edom. This is what's happening to them. And then it gives you, where I said they broke the brotherly covenant, what they did to us, all right, as we were trying to escape, all right, captivity. They were the ones turning us back in, recapturing us, all right. It gives you all that. Culminating in 18, it says, what? They're going to be exterminated off the face of the earth once they serve their 1,000 years, all right. That punishment. Their slavery is going to be the worst ever. And then there will be no more need for them. All right. That's why I read this. So he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he? Because he's not going to be around anymore. All right.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Gemini pulled that up real quick. All right. So they said the United Kingdom finished paying off the debt incurred to compensate slave owners.
Owners.
There's a contract.
Another way to say fuck you. Are you getting that?
Retail traders have never heard of.
Not the people who are the victims.
It's
You say that countries like the UK have long rejected calls to pay reparations, saying today's institutions cannot be held responsible for past wrongs, but yet y'all in the UK say y'all just finished paying off the debt incurred to compensate slave owners in 2015. They said while the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833 legally ended slavery in the British Empire,
just 11 years ago,
provision to pay £20 million, roughly 40% of the national budget at the time, to approximately 46,000 slave owners for the loss of their property, which would be black folk. The key details of repayment, it said to raise a massive sum, the British government took out a giant loan, partially underwritten by Nathan Mayer Rothschild and Moses Montefiore. The 2015 finalization of debt lasted 182 years because it was rolled into undated gifts, government bonds with no fixed redemption date. These were only fully redeemed in 2015 when the Treasury decided to modernize the portfolio. It said who received the money? The original funds were paid to slave owners between 1835 and 1843. The subsequent payments leading up to 2015 were interest and principal repayments to the bondholders who had lent the government the money, effectively meaning British taxpayers were paying for the 1833 compensation package for nearly 2 centuries. No compensation for the enslaved, no financial reparations were ever paid to the approximately 80,000 enslaved people who were freed by the act. They say long-term nature of this debt became the subject of intense public controversy in 2018 after a deleted tweet from the HM Treasury highlighted that living British citizens had helped to pay for the end of the slave trade through their taxes. But yet, when it comes to
this is all part of that. The man of sin being revealed. 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter. What say you now? They have officially said, fuck you niggers. You're not getting anything. You've had the privilege to live in America and to be Christianized. This is what they're really saying. Yeah, now you see why these people got to go, and they will. They are, yeah. Why should you pity people like this? Because you know you got some jakes, yeah. They even hear this, they're going to say, oh, let bygones be bygones. These people got to go from amongst us. All right, so that's going to be it. I'm not going to play the rest. It's like 22 minutes left. All right, but point, I've gone long enough for the point, to be made. More than enough, I think. Once again, Ghana President John Mahama, I guess that's how you say it, Mahama, forced the U.S. to admit why they don't support reparations. And again, kudos to him. All right. Again, this is from the African Diaspora News Channel. All right. And yeah, exposed. Now you know how they really feel. So once again, I hope whoever has viewed this has been edified. Again, that's what we do here at Great Millstone. And also, again, I like to encourage you to remain circumspect out here. All right, keep those eyes and ears open. All right. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.